So it's a little late in the ball game, but I happen to have here an Apple Watch, and I want to answer the question most people probably have: is this thing actually worth getting? Because I know a lot of people that do not have this at all, and they're quite happy with what they're using. They might actually be using another smartwatch like a Pebble. So why would you want this over a Pebble and over any other smartwatch that's out there? So let's start talking about this product itself. So it's really nice. It's actually, even the sport edition of this, which is what I'm holding, it feels premium. Even this, I didn't think at first what was going to happen, but these bands are not. They don't feel cheap. They're actually, they really are pretty good if you work out. So Apple doesn't make anything cheap, so that's one nice thing. Is the watch actually? It depends on what you think of watches and how they look, but I kind of like the look of the watch. I like the fact that it's not necessarily rounded. It looks really nice, and it looks kind of professional when you're wearing it. And that's one thing that these other manufacturers cannot seem to make it look as professional. It looks alright. It's just, it doesn't look exactly like kind of in this form factor. Like the Pebbles are not as premium. I'm sure they make smartwatches out there that are okay and pretty premium, but I will say that this quality of the product is nice. But mainly the thing that people want is if they happen to own an iPhone, then at that point you might want to consider getting it versus a Pebble. And here's why. So if you're interested in fitness, they have their own fitness app for it, obviously, and it can measure your heart rate, and it's called Activities, so it'll show you how active you've been throughout the day. Now, in this case, I haven't been wearing this, so I don't really have any activeness. It'll show you like your heart rate. It'll be very nice, and it'll remind you to stand sometimes, because honestly, you do need to stand. And that's one thing that's really handy if you're into health. It's kind of nice as an option instead of having to buy an additional device like a Fitbit if you were to get another smartwatch. And it can give you kind of a synopsis with the tag-along app for the health, how well you're doing, how many steps you are actually taking. And it does a good job in that realm. So I'd say that in that case, if you're into health, it's pretty good. But I wouldn't just get it if I was into health. It would probably be a Fitbit if I was. So one other thing I really like about this is the fact that it seems to me you have more app support than any of the other smartwatches I've used for the smartphones. Now, with the new watch operating system, OS, I think it's OS 2, from Google that they just released at I/O, I think that could change, and I think we could get more likely to get more apps for it. But to me, this actually has a more corner for apps. And why do you want apps? Well, apps are more or less on this phone, on this watch, an extension of the apps on here. So it's not the full-blown app, obviously. You got a tiny little screen here, so how are you going to be able to play and do everything? It really is meant to be kind of like, it literally is supposed to be a wearable. It's an extension to this app. You won't be doing everything on this phone, but one thing that's really nice about it is the fact that you have all of these apps here. You can take a peek right here, and all of those apps are compatible with the Apple Watch itself, which is really kind of neat. Another reason why you may want this over other brands is that this actually, and I'm not sure if the Google one does it, so correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but this actually will work for payment. So I can just take my wrist, put it through, and I'm good to go as far as the payment is concerned. So it's kind of neat. You can actually use this as a wearable for payment. You can even have a password on it, so that way, if you lose it or anything, then nobody can just use it for payment. Now, I think it has to be paired with the phone too. That's something to keep in mind for the payment to work. I don't know, so please put that in the description. So again, all these are extensions. So a lot of it's notifications saying something went off, something happened. But other places, like for example, if I give you like Wunderlist is cool because it will actually show me, as you can see here, it will actually show me the kind of like an outlook for my to-do list. So we'll let that go. So and like things like that, it can do pretty well. So it actually works really well to that effect, and I don't see as much on the Android. As far as, it's been a while since I've used my Moto 360, and chances are will go up for sale, but it's just kind of doesn't seem like the store is as well developed as this store, because there's a lot of people that use this device and wanted this device, to be blunt. So I'm pretty much there. What I'm saying here is that this device is actually really good for an extension for your other apps, and I don't think that it depends on the type of person you are. If you want to get this thing, that's what it comes down to. If you are into fitness, if you're into having the extensions of apps with the notifications, then you are good to go. However, if you don't really care, it's not worth it for you in that sense. But it is if you're interested in having extensions of your other apps. And reminders are really important. If you forget things like I do, that's one reason why you may want to get this. And if you're into, obviously, the Apple Pay, that's something to help too, and fitness and extensions. So that would be the reasons why I would get this. I will make another video in the future saying why I don't like the Apple Watch, but this is kind of why I like the Apple Watch, and I think that it will do better than other wearables, we'll say. All right, thank you guys again for watching this video. Things are just slowly changing with the uploads, and I will be doing more uploads on videos, so please stay tuned.